Hello, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal, and we are live on a Friday afternoon, which means it's time to learn something. And today, what I thought we would do is, well, let me explain, first of all. I was listening to the news today, and I heard the American president say, actually, I heard a reporter ask the American president, what do you say to people who are scared? And, you know, the funny thing is that, I'm sorry, I've obviously got a major malfunction with the eyeshadow here today. Anyway, what he said was, that's a nasty question. And, you know, I'm not going to answer nasty questions like that or something, you know, it's not verbatim, but it's roughly what he said. And I'm going, I think that's a very relevant question. So that's what I want to address today. You know, how to talk to somebody who's in some level of panic. Now, it can be about anything, because we know a lot of people have panic attacks. But before we get there, I just wanted to just take a moment and make sure that if you've never watched Dear Mama Sal before, I thought I would let you know. Hi, Charlotte. I thought I would let you know a little bit about who we are. We're a group of people that get together 3 times a week. And some of us get together every broadcast 3 times a week. We do 2 on a Friday, and 1 at lunchtime and 1 at 7 o'clock, both Pacific times. And then we also do 1 on Sunday afternoon. Sorry. That could have been nasty. Sunday afternoon at 3:30. And so we have different topics for different broadcasts. The lunchtime one is always a skills one, let's learn something. The evening one is a smile one. And then the, thanks, Charlotte. Charlotte's saying nice catch. Yeah, it was actually. It was a light, believe me. And the Sunday one is a Soul Sunday one. So as today is Friday lunchtime, we're going to be doing a skill, and that is how to help somebody who's in panic. Now, a lot of my viewers know this subject pretty well. And the reason they know it well is because they've been there and done that, right? So what I wanted to do is actually bring you some recommended actions that you can take to help somebody else. And if this also helps you, then obviously that's wonderful. Before we get there, if you haven't subscribed, please do. And I think it's down here, right? And also click on the bell thing, wherever it is, because the bell will let you know, give you warning when I'm about to broadcast. Also, hi, Jody. Also, the other thing is, please be aware that we post information up about our viewers on Facebook. But we give warnings of broadcasts on both Facebook and Twitter. So if you want to be up to date, make sure you got the bell, follow us on Facebook and also on Twitter. And anywhere else you care to find me. Actually, I was quite surprised. Somebody was saying to me just recently, a young person said, I actually looked you up, you're everywhere. And I said, well, yeah, sometimes. So the whole idea about Dear Mama Sal is that we help one another and we care about one another. And in that vein, I just wanted to make sure that you all know. First of all, last night, actually early this morning, I had some text messages with Chloe. For those of you who go back to way back, Chloe is a viewer of ours from way back. She was probably after the first year, I think. And she has a lot of issues going on, and she's in hospital at the moment, scary enough. But she's in hospital because they think there's an infection to the line that goes into her heart. Not her blood vessels, but the line that they have going into her heart to make sure, I'm not quite sure what it's doing, but they think there may be an infection there. And what they're trying to do is to get her to learn how to self-medicate these antibiotics so that they can send her home and get her out of hospital. Because nobody wants to be in hospital at the moment, as you can imagine. So first of all, let's put out some thoughts and prayers for Chloe, because that could be life-threatening for her one way or the other. And the hospital where she is at already has virus patients. So she is obviously very scared. And rightly so. But, you know, if ever there was a lesson in how to keep calm when everything's going wrong, it's got to be for Chloe. The other one is Emma. Emma also is sitting in hospital, and I spoke to her a bit last night as well. And she also hopefully will know today whether she's on the mend or not. I think that's also a heart issue. And I will keep you updated as best I can, as best I get permission to. You understand, when I have these conversations with people, I do ask them, is it okay for me to share with the peeps? And most of them will write back and say yes or no or whatever. The third one, for those of you who go way back, Paul has been not well at all. He had a very high temperature, but the last I heard, the temperature was beginning to drop, which was very good news. And so I, sent him thoughts and prayers from all of us as well. Wow. And then for those of you who know Jeannie and York, hi Sandy. Jeannie and York reported that the new well that they just spent a lot of money digging, or the hole that they redug through the original hole to clear whatever was messing it up and drop down a new pump. That new pump is not working properly. And so that means that it may have to come out and they will be without water yet again. So if you are fairly healthy, if you have water running out of your faucet, if your heart is beating properly, and you don't have the virus, be grateful. Because a lot of our viewers, have got a lot of stuff going on. So how many of you who are on the broadcast at the moment have ever had a panic attack? And the reason I want to talk about it is because I think that quite a few people are going to be struggling. Now, I'm pretty sure that a lot of the Dear Mama Sal viewers who've been around for the last year are probably doing a lot better, because we did a whole year talking about emotional intelligence and helping people grow up their emotions, if you like. And Jody's saying she's had many panic attacks. Yeah, okay. And Jody, did you find that you had them around certain issues? Because I always think one of the most important things to work out is, why are you having them? I've had a couple, and they've been serious enough that they had me in ICU twice, and I didn't understand what was going on, but all the symptoms were of a serious heart attack, and I kept saying, I don't think I'm having a heart attack, and they say, yeah, you got all the symptoms, believe you me. And they rushed me, both times they rushed me into ICU. And 8 hours later, because it takes 8 hours for them to see the enzymes or whatever that happens, for them to clarify whether it is a heart attack or not. And both times that it happened to me, it turned out to be a panic attack, not a heart attack. So, Jody, the reason I'm asking that is because they kept saying, are you worried about anything? And I said, not that I'm aware of. Okay, so Jody says she gets her panic attacks mostly when her health spirals, I presume down, or Lionel is somehow in danger, or his health is compromised. Well, that makes an awful lot of sense. First of all, you've had a lot of bad news about your health in your lifetime. And so I can see that that would trigger you without any problem. But now Lionel is your provider, all right, because you can't, walk to the store and go get stuff. Lionel is your, Lionel's your legs. And if anything happened to Lionel, you understand that that's part of your brain goes, I need to protect Lionel because Lionel protects me. And so that makes an awful lot of sense, Jody, that you would feel that way. So I think it's really important that we help people not panic. And Jody, I've got to ask you, because you were here for every broadcast, I think, that we did last year on emotional intelligence. Can you tell me in what way has the learning that you did over the last year changed how you react and panic, if it has? Okay, and while you're doing that, I'm going to start with some of the suggestions. I got these suggestions from a reputable source, the local health organization here in British Columbia, because I want to make sure that I'm not giving you false information. I want to make sure that I'm giving you medical suggested information. Although we're going to talk about what individual people find helpful, I want to just start. The first thing you can do is stay with the calm person. Now, it doesn't matter whether you are on texting them or standing right next to them. More likely today, you're going to be talking to them either on email or on or as a text thing. And so what I want you to know is that staying with them doesn't mean for the next 3 hours. It means stay with them in terms of where they're at. All right? Because if you stay with them where they are at, then they feel reassured. All right? And so they should be. So the other thing that I would recommend, or is recommended, is to check if that person has medication for panic attacks. Do any of you have medication that you have on hand in case you have a panic attack? And, you know, you might not think that, you might not have it, but maybe they do. And so that's what I would like you to think about. All right, check with them, first of all, do you have anything to help you calm down? Have you ever been prescribed anything, you know, if they're having a full-blown panic attack? By the way, perhaps we should talk about that. A panic attack is where somebody becomes incredibly anxious and cannot think clearly. All right, now, some of you probably have got input in terms of what that looks like for you, or what you have seen in your friends. And by the way, if you're watching on the replay, feel free to add the comments in, because other people will want to know about this. And if you find this helpful, make sure you write a comment afterwards. Okay, so Jody's saying yes, in terms of the learning, it sure has changed me. The most important thing for me was to recognize that I was totally stuck in my emotional state, and that you taught me how to quickly turn that around. Only if you choose to. All right, Jody? That is a choice. How many people do you know, Jody, that will tell you, oh, I can't do that, when the truth is they choose not to do that? Right, and Jody's saying, it's my mission to get from emotional to rational as quickly as possible. Yep. First of all, is it okay to be emotional? Of course it is. We all have emotion. I'm not going to say don't be emotional, but the trick is don't stay in that hamster wheel. And in case any of you missed it, let me just make sure that you all have the same picture. And what we've always said is that if you start getting caught up in emotion, it feels like a hamster wheel. You're going round and round and round. And then, you know, eventually you will get into rational. Now, the reason for that is because all your thoughts go through the emotional part of your brain before they eventually make it through to reality. And some people very rarely get to reality. Yeah, Jody's saying it is our choice to be a victim or a victor. And you know, what do you say to yourself, Jody? Just as a matter of interest. I know what I say to myself, but I'm interested in what other people say. And by the way, I just thought I'd let you know, I did find a copy of the book of poems that I wrote, and I sort of had a look, if I can get to it. The first one was about fear. And I thought, no, I want to read the one about freedom. And because I think this is so true of us when we are in a panic attack. So here's my poem on freedom. What is freedom? Now there's a thought. Is it the life in which you're caught? Is it the right to say and do the things you know are really you? Is freedom saying what you believe or repeating a thought you didn't conceive? Or is freedom perhaps feeling free from the worry of what others think of me? How many of you can feel that? See, part of emotional intelligence is be able to recognize I am in emotion and I choose to take a step out and deal with reality. And there's only one question you need to ask to take that transition. Actually, two. Number one, what are the facts? Not the imaginings. What are the facts? And what can I do? Not what can't I do, what can I do? All right, so Jody's saying, I breathe, I get as calm as possible. I tell myself I've survived 100% of my previous panic attacks. And then I go into action by making a plan, options, A, B, C, and D. Yeah, you see, what can I do? All right. And you give yourself options. It doesn't feel like you have to do anything. But if you want to stay out of panic, you can do one of these things. Great work, Jody. So the other thing is, hi there, Ange. Good to see you. Wow. Well, I'm certain everybody is on a stay at work order. I just, I just hope, and as I was saying, that I just hope that people realize how important it is that we help one another now. Because people who are used to being very social are suddenly going to be isolated, and that's going to be really difficult for them. All right, let me just finish this. So don't make assumptions about what the other person needs. All right. You will quite often hear me say to people, what can I do to support you now? How many times have you heard me say that? And the reason I say that is I don't want to presume I know what they need. That would be a very man thing. But it's like, I think that is the problem is we don't tell people what we need. We don't tell people, hang on, I'm just having a little, conniption right now. Give me a couple of minutes, I'll be fine. All right. Or I need to really get angry now. But it's not at you or anybody else. I just need to get angry because I want to get the emotion out. And if I can get the emotion out, I will clear it out of my brain. And then, how many of you have found that when you allow yourself to get really angry, a lot of stuff comes out, and somewhere in the middle of that, you go, okay, that's better. Now I can move on. So really good idea to have somebody safe you can tell, have a little vent to. Yeah, Jody's saying, I admire that. I have adopted that, Sal, asking, how can I support instead of assuming? Yeah, it's a really important thing. For example, I'm surprised over the years with Chloe, who's got more problems in her medical history than I care to think about. Whenever I've asked her, she just said, could you just keep being you? Which I think is so adorable. All right. She really just appreciates that when the world is, not going well, I'm nearly always there for her. If I've managed to find out that, she's in trouble in any way. So, and, that is what I think we need to be really aware of right now. I want you to be really aware of a lot of your friends. What do they need from you right now? Do you know? All right. Because as I said, some of our friends are really sociable people. And when you cut away that social contact, then, they're going to have different reactions. The other thing that there's recommended, just to hang on one second, just to let you know, my chat has stopped. I don't know why, but my chat has stopped. So, that's going to be a bit of a problem. I've got a choice, which is to restart on another stream. And I think No, I'm going to carry on, and then I will do the chat part of this on a different stream. I am presuming that you can hear me. And Jody, if you can hear me, could you let me know on Facebook, please? Because that's going to be pretty important. If you, hang on, let me ask Jody on Facebook. Maybe she can't hear me. Hang on 1 second. Of course, it requires that I bring up Facebook. Oops. Okay, you can hear me. Good. Thanks, Jody. All right, so I'm going to carry on. And just, Jody, if you can just let people know. I'm wondering whether everybody else can see each other, whether it's only my chat that's been messed up. That would be interesting to know. Yeah, okay, Jody's going to cut and paste where she can, which is a really horrible thing to do, but thank you, Jody. I would be selective in what you cut and paste, right? Or cut and paste a number of them, you know, like that make it easy to do a screen worth, and then I can work through them. So the other thing is, if you've got a friend in panic, and thank you for that, Jody. And for those of you who don't know, Jody is our admin, and she does an unbelievable job with all sorts of things going on in her life. And by the way, that is one of the things I wanted to add to the list, and I didn't, which is Jody's father-in-law is not doing at all well. And, you know, they are literally watching him on an hour-to-hour basis. So our thoughts and prayers go out to Jody and now Lionel, and the families, because it's a horrible time. But the good news was Lionel got to talk to him in a rational moment yesterday, and I was so glad for that, because that would help Lionel a great deal. Right, so one of the things you do when somebody is in panic is talk to them in short sentences and keep it simple. One of the things I really find helpful is to ask them questions. And by the way, quite often you will get the answer, I don't know. And I like to ask the question, yeah, I understand that, but what if you did know? Because what people do is they, the word I want to use is abrogate. Great word. They sort of don't want to think. So they say, I don't know, because I don't want to think. And the interesting thing is that I found that if you say, yeah, I know, but what would the answer be? And then I would say 50% of the time I will get an answer on that one. Be predictable, avoid surprises, all right? Be predictable. If you are a kind, loving person, don't suddenly get angry with them. Now, I actually am a pretty pragmatic person. In other words, what I do is I'm inclined to see things in a fairly factual way. It doesn't mean I don't care. It doesn't mean I don't have compassion, but I'm inclined to deal with facts a lot as well as emotion. So to me, I'm always trying to get to the facts for them. So, to cut out the emotion for a second, let's deal with the facts. And, I'm not joking. At the moment, I wake up every morning and go, that was a good start. I woke up and I literally say that. I am grateful to wake up in the morning and I can still get out of bed. I am grateful for that, right? And so what I will do is I will sometimes walk somebody through that and go, okay, I just want to check. I presume that you woke up this morning because you're talking to me, right? Are you grateful for that? Are you, and get them into the yes mode, because it's really important. Help slow the person's breathing by counting slowly to 10. Emily, is that the original Emily or Emily? Okay, it must be Emily. Hi, Emily. Good to see you, honey. Big hugs. Just to let you know, Emily, because you that I don't know if you heard the updates on Paul Oh, by the way, the Brit, Paul the Brit, his fiance Lena also has been diagnosed, by the way, with the virus. Just so I add that in. I really do need to have a better list going. But Emily, really great to see you. So slow the person's breathing down. How do you do that? Help them breathe by doing it with them. Let's breathe together. Let's breathe in and count to 5 and then hold it for 5. You see, most people, if you tell them, I want you to breathe in for 10, won't want to do that. It sounds too long. But if you say to them, let's breathe in for 5 and then hold it for 5. Let's do that together right now. Are you ready? Okay, so here we go. And that's the other thing I encourage them to do, which is, and release for 5. And by the way, once you got that one really mastered, if they can do that, then the whole action of counting brings people into the present, which is really important. Now, there's certain things that you can say to somebody that is going to be more beneficial than others. By the way, before I forget, for those of you who are busy buying aloe vera for hand sanitizer, did you know that it is toxic to dogs? I didn't know that. I have a page a day thing about dogs, and one of the things it says is aloe vera, carnations, lilies, morning glory, and tulips are poisonous to dogs. I did not know that. So just be very careful if you've got that sort of stuff around. Keep it away from your dogs, please. All right, so here's some things that you can say to people to help them get into the present a bit more. Jody is brilliant at this, and I've just got to give her 10 out of 10. Because I hear these things out of Jody time and time again, not only when she's helping others, but even when she's helping me. And she will say things like, you can get through this. You see, she trusts that you can. And then she also says, I'm proud of you. Good job. Which is another thing that is really important to know. How about tell me what you need now? All right, that's what we said. Ask people what they need, and you'll be surprised at the answers you get. Say to them, yeah. So wait a minute, Jody, I've got to read that right now, otherwise I will forget it. Jody's reminding us, please do not flush paper wipes or flush wipes or paper towels into the toilet. She's saying they already have a problem in their town. I want to talk about that more tonight, Jody. So if you could, just keep that one on the back burner for tonight, add it onto my list. I'd appreciate it. Okay, so the other thing is this, you might want to say to them, it's not the place that is bothering you, it's the thought. All right? I think people need to understand that a panic attack isn't that something is attacking them, it's their mind is attacking them. Does that make sense to you all? It is what we are thinking that's causing the anxiety. It's not what's out there. And so that's why it's possible that we're all hearing the same terrible news, and some people are freaking out and some people are not. It's not that the other people didn't hear the news, their way of processing it is different. All right? And so that is what I want you to clearly understand. Now, the next thing they're saying is one of the things you can say is what you're feeling is scary, but it's not dangerous. Now, I wouldn't recommend that one because it could be. And I would hate to tell anybody a lie. I would say, hey, I know it's scary right now. I totally agree with you. It is scary. But we still need to carry on. All right. And allow the person learn the tools that they need to have at their own pace. I would recommend, if somebody is really in a bad panic way, that they do need to be talking with a therapist. Now, I don't know what it is in the States, but we have what I call a nurse's line here in Canada, which we can call, for minor medical things, or even, updates on what to do with the virus situation. And so I'm just wondering whether in the States there is a similar line that probably is overloaded right now, but ours in Canada is 811. And we can phone that and talk to a nurse, and, find out what we should be doing or not doing, or whatever. So one of the things is, understand that if you've been working for a year on your emotional intelligence, your understanding of the current situation will be very different from somebody who hasn't. So I want you to be aware of that, right? That you will probably go out of the hamster wheel more quickly than somebody who has not learned how to get out of the hamster wheel. So allow them to go at their pace, because their speed is the right speed for them. Be patient and praise all their efforts towards recovery, even if that person is not meeting all their goals. I think I'd like to give an example here of Lauren. And Lauren decided that she was going to sign up to go back to university. And she then, to her horror, realized she'd signed up for the wrong course. And I know that they're going to move her to the right course in the next semester. But one of the things that's started to happen was she started to fall behind. And I'm pretty sure that part of the reason for it was because of what's going on in the world. But also, you can imagine that her mind's busy saying, well, you're not going to continue with this course, so what's the point? Well, this isn't the point. The point is, I said to her, what I'd really like you to do is to take this semester and use it as a discipline checker to find out how much discipline have you got now? Have you got enough discipline to stay on course? Because I think that is the most important thing for our mental health. If I gave you one trick about helping yourself or helping anybody else, is to help them have a routine and check in with them and see how they're doing. I have a daily routine that doesn't give me time to think very much, and it only allows me to watch the news twice a day, right? Because what do I know? If I sit and watch the news, I'm going to be in a horrible state and I'm not going to be doing anything. And you're saying, well, how much can I do? I'm stuck in. Well, you can do a lot. It's tax time, it's spring cleaning time, and happy spring, by the way. Oh, and I saw the greatest quote, and it came from Benji's daddy today. Hang on a second. I need to find that. What did he tell me? All right. Well, first of all, the word vernal is to do with the equinox. It's a spring equinox, the vernal equinox. Did you know that it marks the moment when the sun appears to shine directly over the equator, and that daytime and nighttime are equal at the equator? Actually, they say they are nearly equal everywhere on the planet at an equinox. So how many of you have noticed that the evenings are getting longer again? Yay. I was out walking after 6 o'clock and it was wonderful. Okay, so Jody, I'm going to ask a question. I'd like to see what the responses are. How many of you are willing to travel with me if I restart the broadcast and then add the chit chat on at the end of this? So just let Jody know, and Jody will let me know. And then what we will do is just make sure you've clicked the bell here, wherever it is, so that it will tell you that I've gone live again. It's like dum 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 dum. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. So the main thing about helping other people is please remember that people will panic. We heard horror stories. Yeah, we heard horror stories already from Beth, where she was literally physically attacked when the one load of toilet paper came in, and this load that came in today, she had a triple load coming in, and she had to have police protection to guard that. All right, I'm going to start this again on another stream, just so that we can talk to one another. So I'll see you at the other side. Bye-bye for now.